I think there's some room for expansion there and some of the things that you can get. Currently, it's fairly limited. It's enough to do some pretty basic stuff that you want, but that's an area where I hope that, you know, over time we can get additional things added to it. So that again, the more information that you can get programmatically, what I call it, the easier it is to do things internally and still have a site that's hosted like eCore uses, where this, you know, all the data is at their site. Sure.
So the API is pulling data straight from the eCore server?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then the database copies, is that a manual process to get them out of the secure?
So it could be manual or automated. It could be manual or automated. So initially, I did it manually. You know, I'd go in and copy every few days. Like I said, for this new project in Florida with the bonus program, it'll be automated so that they'll pull the database down, unzip it, and restore it to the SQL instance, you know, automatically.
So it'll be the current version that day, so your report is running as current as the database data file is.
Right, right. And so there again, depending on what you're trying to do with it, whether you know, daily or weekly or whatever schedule you want, but
Monthly, so it's not a big deal.
right,
Yeah.
right. I think in the past, the database file is actually up about 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. I guess it just depends whenever the backup's run. But it would have everything up prior to that, at that time of the backup.
Two questions. Is it a full backup copy, or is it a delta of the database?
No, it's a full.
It's full copy.
Full every time.
How big a file are you looking at? Well, I guess it depends on the size of the service.
I think unzipped, the one for AMC was 650 meg.
It's definitely going to depend on your database and how much information.
Yeah, and how long you've been on it, those type of things.
Okay.
I was surprised at how small it was, particularly zipped. It doesn't take up a lot of.
We provide them in a zip file, so we compress it.
Pretty compressed.
Yeah, SQL zips. I mean, compresses pretty good.
Okay. The API, is that an ASP process that pulls the query, an active server page type query, or?
It doesn't have to be. As I showed here, you could, you know, you type in the web service and basically do like a post. I use PHP is what I'm running in the background, and it basically just does a call to that site, and then it stores the result that in a variable. Then I go through and I process out, you know, the items that I'm looking for.
Information-wise, I'm sorry not to monopolize, but just 2 bits of information on that. I can see where you get the schedule item. Are you using clock in, clock out functions in eCore now with the employees? Are you capturing their punches?
Yes, we use BioClocks.
Okay, and are you validating their schedule time versus their punch-in time with that, just out of curiosity?
No, we're not. That's something that you could do. What the application that we used it for was basically I wanted to know total hours versus you know, trips. So certainly you could use it to get, like for instance, there was a whole other API section called Get Punches, which would give you that information, and then you can compare it against schedule item or maybe schedule, things of that nature. I'm not using the Get Punches. I just want to know the total overall time, but it's certainly something that you could get. In fact,
The wheels started turning when you started showing some of that.
no, it will give you a lot of. I did want to give you the. The API. There's an API document actually. They do have in here about frequency or how many times you can invoke the API. I have not run into a problem with that yet, so I don't know whether either we're not exceeding it, or they like me, or they don't really check that much. But it does tell you that if you need exceptions, to let them know. So
Yeah.
So this tells you that, you know, it gives you all the parameters, it tells you the format, the stuff is returned in. It even gives you, like, here's a C# code example on how to call it.
So Jim, you're saying when you get the schedule, you're actually pulling the pre-edited schedule, correct?
The get schedules gives you the schedule item as it exists the time you pull it.
And then when you run that database 3 days later, after the discrepancies have been done, you'll get fresh data. for that
Right,
date.
so, yeah, right, so if I say, for instance, today, I say, give me all the schedule items for X employee from, you know, 2/17 to end of the month. For the days that have already passed where they've worked and the discrepancies have been done, it's going to give me those items that they've been edited to match, you know, what they worked. For days that have not yet occurred, it's going to give you what the schedule is. And then as those days occurred, if tomorrow I check, there again, that one day, you know, has been processed through.
Show the difference.
So it gives you the information, you know, basically the real-time information as of when you make that call.
Is that document available somewhere?
Yeah, well, you'll just need to talk to us about, we provide the service for the APIs. So if you're interested, we can definitely, you know, our team can talk to you about, all of that stuff. And I'm not really sure about the process. Stephen was going to talk about that, and I don't know where he is. So you'll have to ask him about that. But we do, it is a service, so it is an additional cost for the API, you know, for accessing that information and stuff. And then, but yeah, I mean, anyone who's interested, we can definitely fill you in on details, give you price quotes, things like that.
So this is the punch.
And
like I
we
said.
might be able to provide you with a document. I'm just not sure about that yet.
So here's an example of the punch is what, you know, this is the exact, this is what the punch array looks like. So for instance, you could build something that compares your punch times with your in and out times out of your dispatch system to see, hey, here's somebody that punched in, you know, 45 minutes before their truck got in service, you know, why was that? So the ways in which you can use this stuff is pretty flexible. Certifications. There again. I want to mention something on employees. So here's the employee list. As you can see, it's not not very extensive, but it would be nice to get some additional information. But it does give you the employee ID, and actually it also includes. It doesn't show on here. I know it includes the home call center. That's not fully up to date. Cell phone, pager, that's the free name, email address. So, if you think you want to use the API or you think it'll be valuable to you, definitely let's get together and ask for some more stuff. But anyway, I know it's not applicable to everybody, but hopefully somebody might could have use of they actually give you error codes, which is nice because not every API actually gives you error codes. I won't call us all out by name. Oh, I mean, but there are some APIs that don't even give you error messages or statuses, and so there's that. So, yeah, question.